Alvin Esposito. So Allison was 25 years in the NYPD. She was the commanding officer of the 70th Precinct in Brooklyn. And her father was an NYPD chief. Allison wanted to become an NYPD chief, and she might have even become NYPD chief by now. And she retired, not just to be our next lieutenant governor, she retired to be our candidate to be our next lieutenant governor. I'm so grateful that she's willing to do that. Allison Esposito. And just before Allison, you heard from your next congressman, Mike Lawler. You have great candidates who are running statewide, state legislature, and this isn't one of those years where you look at the candidates and you're like, I wonder which ones will be able to win. No, 10 days to go. Early voting started this morning. The polls are now open. As you look at the candidates who are in front of you and behind me, what we need to resolve ourselves to commit to with every ounce of our energy is to make sure that every single candidate in front of you gets elected on Tuesday, November 8th. Every single one of them. Is Rockland County ready to fire Kathy Hochul? Ready to save our state on November 8th? So it's election night, the polls have closed, the results are in, and you tune your TV to the election night watch party for Kathy Hochul and the Democratic Party, and you will all get to witness for yourself with your eyes and your ears a concession speech being delivered. Former Governor Kathy Hochul. This truly is the campaign to save our state. There are times where we wish, we hope that maybe in a few years we'll get an opportunity to turn things around. And how much disappointment we've had when a few years go by and that opportunity doesn't even end up panning out. And then we find out that we have to wait maybe years later. Well, we're all here today in Rockland with an opportunity that is just 10 days away. The last time that we had this opportunity in this state where we were at a crossroads was 1994. This little-known guy, George Pataki, who everyone said it was an impossible race, there's no way that he'd be able to win. You know that the last week of that race, 6 public polls came out, and all 6 said he was going to lose. Apparently at the time, the one poll that was viewed as the poll that would always predict the winner was the Daily News poll at the time. And the Daily News poll was about to come out. Candidate George Pataki was hoping to find out that he was up after all that hard work. Just before the election, days before the election, the Daily News poll came out and said he was down by 14 points. 4 of those last 6 polls had him down double digits. They said he was going to lose by 11.5 points. He ended up winning by 3.5. The polls were off by 15 points. They can't poll this. You can't poll this. You know, in some of these polls that come out, they don't even talk to people. It's like an online platform. It's weird how they get the person to even do the poll. And then they try to tell you that you have no chance of winning any race for any office. And you're like, well, maybe you're wrong again. Like you normally are. Because you can't poll this. When we were standing on the debate stage a few days ago, we were getting asked question, crime after crime after crime question, and I'm glad we were getting asked that question, those questions, because these are important questions to talk about. And you could say that I was doing Kathy Hochul a favor by pointing out that here we are, almost halfway through the debate, and you've been asked question after question after question, and you still have not yet said anything about the part of the criminal justice system where you lock up the bad guy. The part of the criminal justice system where you put the handcuffs on the criminals instead of on law enforcement and on judges and on law-abiding New Yorkers. You could say I was doing her a favor, because she can then weigh in and say purposefully how important it is to make sure that people who commit crimes and hurt other people, who owe a debt to society, are prosecuted for what they do. How important it is that if you are a district attorney, that you are enforcing the law. Not an issue. You have a great district attorney here in Rockland, but I'll tell you what, there are some other counties where the district attorney does not do their job. And instead, she thought that it would be a good idea to ask out loud, to wonder out loud. She doesn't understand why this is so important to me. And when she says that towards me, she's saying that she does not understand why this is so important for you. When Kathy Hochul declares that I am no longer a New Yorker because of my views, she's declaring that you're no longer New Yorkers because of your views. When she demands that I get on a bus and move to Florida because of my views, she's demanding that millions of New Yorkers should all get on buses and move to Florida. When you want to be the governor of the state of New York, you're signing up to be the governor for all New Yorkers. If you want to be the president of the United States, you're signing up to be the president for all Americans. But that's not what we have right now. We don't have a governor for all New Yorkers. But we will. We'll have a new governor on January 5th. I did an interview on the Maria Bartiromo show a couple Sundays ago, and she asked me what my goals were for the first 100 days. And I told her my mind isn't focused as much on the first 100 days as it is on the first 100 minutes. And we're going to have a very busy first 100 minutes. The first action that we will take the first day, as soon as we are sworn into office, because the people of New York understand that DA stands for District Attorney, not Defense Attorney, because we don't want violent criminals to be roaming free. I will be telling the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, that he's being fired. And there is a crime emergency right now here in this state. Kathy Hochul might not be willing to recognize it. She might be asking us to just look away. There's nothing to see here. They may be trying to make the argument it's just perception, what you all are seeing with your own eyes in the video and the news stories. But we will do collectively what she isn't willing to do herself. On January 1st, we will declare a crime emergency here in the state of New York. And we will suspend New York's cashless bail law. And raise the age, and the halt law, and less is more, and the discovery law changes. And then limited law enforcement will know that they have a government that has their back again. Law-abiding New Yorkers will know that no matter what street you travel to, anywhere in this state, in all 62 counties, it is the law-abiding New Yorker who is in charge of every street, of every route of a subway or a bus. Wherever you go in the state of New York, it's the law-abiding New Yorker. It's law enforcement. It is the rule of law that is in charge and that rules the day. It is no longer the criminal. In our first 100 minutes, every last possible COVID mandate that we can get rid of is gone. at the debate the other day, we were asked about the COVID shot mandate for healthcare workers. And Kathy Hochul said that she would do it all over again. Here's my position. If you want to get it, get it. If you don't want to get it, don't get it. But it's your personal decision whether or not to get the COVID vaccine. Nobody should lose their job for a mandate. Nobody should be blocked out of a classroom like what is happening with some higher ed classrooms here in New York. We were also asked about making it a mandate on our kids. No. And Kathy Hochul would only be willing to agree not to impose a mandate right then and there. And I made it very clear when it was my turn to speak. When it was my time, I said that I will never impose a COVID vaccine mandate on anyone at any time for any reason, anywhere here in the state of New York. And I agree that every single person who's been fired should get their jobs back with backwards. We're going to have a busy first 100 minutes. It shouldn't require an executive order. I happen to believe that this is just the way it should be. But we will sign an executive order to make it crystal clear that in the state of New York, parents have a fundamental right to control the upbringing of their child, and they do not relinquish that right to government by sending their kids off to school. In this very busy first 100 minutes, we're going to send a message to the thousands of New York families who lost their loved ones in nursing homes. We will do what Kathy Hochul won't, and we will appoint a special prosecutor to investigate the deadly nursing home order and cover-up. I want you all to have a government you can be proud of again, a government where the governor isn't referring to you as his or her apostles, a government where you don't have a governor who is referring to themselves as the mother or father of New York's 62 counties. I don't know if that day was in the room that day when that happened. But Kathy Hochul was at an Association of Counties meeting, and she actually referred to herself as the mother of New York's 62 counties. I promise you that at no point will the thought even enter my head, let alone come out of my mouth, when you hear me refer to myself as the father of New York's 62 counties. It won't happen. It won't happen. It is important for all of us to take back control of our government, of our family's future, of our community. There are times where these opportunities are hopefully years away. And sometimes, as I said, that time comes and it goes and you still have more of the same, or it gets even worse. You have one-party rule right now in Albany. You have outsized power of people who actually call themselves socialists. This isn't what we call them. If you call them something other than a socialist, if you say Assemblywoman so-and-so, you are not a socialist, they will correct you. There's one AOC in Washington. There's like dozens of them up in Albany. There are men and women who feel like our state should be like some other country somewhere else. That many New Yorkers actually fled to come here to New York to escape. And they want to turn our state into that country. Our state, our country, should be the best version of itself. We want to be able to say that we live in the greatest state, in the greatest country in the history of the world. But it's hard to do that with our friends and family in other states. When they say, well, are you from that state that leads the whole country in out-migration? So more people are leaving your state that you say is the greatest state in the country than people are fleeing any other state, like including California. Yeah, that's our state. But what we can do in 10 days is to very quickly be back on pace to where the attacks on our wallets, our safety, our freedom, and the quality of our kids' education are being reversed. Where people who have left can get the phone call from you to say, listen, you thought you were leaving while the getting was good, but it's time to come back to your family. It's a new day that has dawned here in the great state of New York. Now I have terrible news for you. I'm very sad to report that Mark Ruffalo, the actor Mark Ruffalo, just recorded a video attacking me. I was wondering if I was going to even bring myself, to bear to be able to deliver a speech here, because what he put out his video, and then Leonardo DiCaprio, he retweeted it, and Amy Schumer's coming after me. I don't know. I blame Joe. I blame Joe for Amy Schumer. But the reason why Mark Ruffalo recorded a video was because I believe that New York should reverse its ban on the safe extraction of natural gas. The southern tier of New York is desperate for it. And he puts out this video that includes footage that you turn on your water faucet and then fire just comes out. And that's how they got the ban put into place. So when you think of what's at stake and what we are up against, these people are actually running things at every single level. Are we going to allow them to gain even more power? No! 2 more years or 4 more years to attack your freedom? No! No, this is our opportunity. If we do everything in our power everywhere, telling everyone we know, emails and texts and social media and word of mouth, we tell everyone, friends, family, neighbors, strangers, co-workers, whoever it is, that this is our opportunity to save this state and save this country. And I plan on tuning in at the beginning of January, watching C-SPAN, when Mike Lawler is sworn in as your next congressman. And Mike Lawler is there in person to witness the gavel permanently coming out of the hands of former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Which means the gavels also come out of the hands of Maxine Waters and Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler. We will have the balance of power restored to Washington, D.C. again. Michael Henry is going to be our state's next Attorney General. He's going to do a darn good job. We have a bunch of great candidates here for state senate and state assembly, and I'll tell you, there's a whole lot of people talking about this guy who's about to be a new state senator from Rockland named Bill Weber. Everyone's leaning on him. A lot of pressure on Bill. A lot of pressure on all of us. But we have to get all these state legislative candidates, all of them, over the finish line at first, and they're all working so hard. Now, quick question before we go. Trivia, I don't know, just pay attention. I hope this doesn't come across as a trick question or anything. I just want to poll the group here. How many of you are ready to turn Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer into Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer? I just wanted to give you options. Is Rockland County ready to turn Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer into former Senator Chuck Schumer? Is Rockland County ready to elect Allison Esposito as our state's next lieutenant governor? If we all dig deep doing everything in our power, we will make history in a way that we can still tell stories about what happened 28 years ago. This state was at a crossroads and people stepped up to do their part, to make sure they were saving New York then, and we will do it again in 2022 in a way they will tell stories about decades from now. The numbers are going to come out of Rockland County, and it is going to be mind-blowing. It's going to make the Democrats' hearts hurt when they see how Democrats and Republicans and Independents all stepped up November 8, 2022, to fire Kathy Hochul, to end one-party rule, to save our state and restore it to glory. Let's go out and make history. We're looking at how we can gather